Have you ever met someone for the absolute first time? You look them right in the eye and you just instantly feel like, wow, I can completely trust this person. Or, the total opposite. You walk into a room and suddenly feel incredibly uncomfortable, even though on paper, absolutely nothing seems wrong. We've literally all had those moments, right? Where our bodies seem to be reacting to this completely invisible script.
And think about this for a second. Have you ever changed your route at the very last possible minute, only to find out way later that you unknowingly dodged a totally dangerous situation? So, were those just random coincidences? Or is there this hidden intelligence inside of you, quietly trying to guide your life from behind the scenes?
Well, welcome to this explainer. Today we're taking a super fascinating journey to decode the body's hidden language. We're going to bridge modern neuroscience with ancient spiritual wisdom to figure out exactly what those weird physical sensations are actually trying to tell you. Science calls this intuition, while ancient spiritual traditions call it the voice of the soul. And honestly, by the time we wrap this up, you are absolutely never going to look at a sudden chill or a weird feeling in your stomach the exact same way again. All right, section 1, the body knows before your mind. Picture this scenario. You're taking a nice, peaceful walk through a dense forest. Suddenly, without seeing anything unusual at all, your heart just starts absolutely racing. Your muscles tense up, your breathing instantly shifts. And then, seconds later, you finally spot a camouflage snake right there beneath the leaves. Crazy, right? How on earth did your body react before your conscious mind even realized there was a threat? Okay, let's dive right into this. Scientists explain this through a phenomenon called unconscious perception. Your nervous system is insanely fast. Long before your conscious awareness even stands a chance to catch up, your brain has already analyzed literally thousands of environmental clues. It's constantly processing these incredibly subtle details totally under the radar. We're talking facial expressions, weird smells, micro shifts in someone's tone of voice, body language, stuff your conscious mind completely glosses over. That's exactly why you might say, man, I knew something was wrong, I just couldn't explain it. Well, your body noticed long before your thoughts did. Which brings us to section 2, trusting your second brain. Let's talk about a sensation I know for a fact we have all felt. You know when someone says they just had a bad feeling in their stomach? Well, interestingly enough, that is not just a figure of speech. Think back to a time when anxiety literally made you sick to your stomach, or when sheer excitement gave you those intense, fluttering butterflies. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer biological scale we're dealing with here. 500 million. That's how many neurons are hanging out in your digestive system alone. 500 million. Scientists literally refer to the gut as your second brain, and these neurons connect directly back up to your primary brain through the vagus nerve. That means emotional stress, fear, excitement, and even just your everyday social interactions can immediately impact your stomach. It's hardwired right into your biology. It's fascinating to look at how two totally different worlds view this exact same phenomenon. On one side, science sees this as your biological stress response, your stomach directly reacting to emotional stress or excitement through that vagus nerve connection we just talked about. But then, on the other hand, spiritual traditions have long viewed this exact same area, the solar plexus, as the absolute epicenter of your personal intuition and inner wisdom. So whether you lean toward the scientific or the spiritual lens, the takeaway is exactly the same. Your stomach often reacts way before your mind actually understands why. Moving on to section 3, goosebumps and energy exchange. Let's shift gears to an even more visceral feeling. Think about the last time you got those totally mysterious goosebumps. Maybe you were listening to a deeply powerful piece of music, watching an incredibly emotional speech, or maybe you were just standing somewhere that felt historically or personally meaningful to you. Believe it or not, science actually has a specific name for this: frisson. It happens when powerful emotional experiences activate the reward, emotion, and memory centers of your brain all at once. But let's check out the spiritual interpretation too. Many traditions suggest that these goosebumps are actually a signal of energetic alignment. They believe that when something deeply resonates with your very soul, your body responds physically to basically whisper, hey, pay attention to this. Now, not every goosebump is some deeply spiritual moment, obviously, but when they hit during moments of profound realization, it is definitely worth taking notice. And speaking of energy, have you ever hung out with someone for maybe 10 minutes and felt absolutely exhausted afterward? And then you meet someone else who just instantly fills you with total peace. Psychologists explain this through something called emotional contagion. Basically, humans naturally absorb emotions from others through mirror neurons and subconscious social signals. Our nervous systems literally sync up. But spiritual teachings describe this as an energy exchange. Whether you want to call it psychology or energy, the lived experience is identical. Your body is reading an emotional environment long before your conscious mind even forms an opinion about the person standing in front of you. All right, section 4, recognizing warnings and peace. Now, I want to slow down for just a second to talk about something truly extraordinary. Tons of survivors of incredibly dangerous situations report a very similar, bizarre phenomenon. They simply couldn't explain why, but they suddenly felt this overwhelming urge that they just needed to leave. Some inexplicably canceled their flights. Others literally walked out of a room mere moments before violence erupted. So were they psychic? Well, not necessarily. Researchers actually believe this is subconscious pattern recognition. So here's how it works. Your brain is continuously comparing your present experience with millions of stored memories. And when it detects an invisible warning sign, something that just doesn't quite fit the normal pattern, boom, it rings the alarm. It triggers the racing heart, the sweaty palms, and that completely sudden, inexplicable feeling of urgency. Your body's alarm system recognizes the danger and is desperately trying to get you out of there before your conscious thoughts can even begin to process the actual threat. But listen, our intuition isn't just about sounding a fire alarm for danger. Sometimes it signals the exact opposite. Have you ever felt incredibly calm, like where you physically feel lighter, your breathing slows way down, and time literally just seems to disappear? Psychologists call this the flow state, a state of profound physical calm when your actions are deeply aligned with your personal values. You might feel this when you're creating art, helping out a friend, or meditating. Spiritual teachers call this soul alignment. It's that profound, incredible peace your body gives you when you are exactly where you are supposed to be. So here's the million-dollar question. If intuition is this incredibly powerful biological superpower, why on earth do so many of us ignore it? Well, the modern world is just incredibly noisy. We are constantly bombarded by dings and notifications, endless social media feeds, chronic stress, and the very loud opinions of everybody else. Plus, we have this deep underlying fear of making mistakes. And because of all this constant noise, we gradually become totally disconnected from our own internal signals. We stop asking, how does this feel to me? And we start asking, what does everyone else think? But here is section 5, strengthening your inner voice. And I've got some great news for you. Intuition is not some magical, mystical gift reserved for a select, chosen few. Literally, everyone possesses it. It's a measurable biological skill, and just like any other skill in the world, it grows stronger the more you practice. The real challenge is simply relearning how to hear it through all that noise. Let's move to the next slide and see how this builds, because how do we actually put this into practice? Here are 4 highly actionable steps you can start taking today. First, sit in complete silence for just 10 minutes daily. No phone, no music, absolutely no distractions. Second, track your occurring physical sensations. Does your chest suddenly tighten up around a specific person? Write it down. I promise you, patterns will start to emerge. Third, practice mindfulness. The more aware you are of your physical body, the easier it becomes to read its signals. And fourth, just trust your small instincts. You don't have to go out and make massive, life-changing decisions on day one. Just notice when your tiny instincts prove to be accurate, and your confidence is going to naturally build up over time. So the absolutely crucial point here is this. For centuries, science and spirituality seemed like bitter, sworn enemies. One demanded hard empirical evidence, while the other deeply valued inner experience. But as we've seen throughout this explainer, they're actually converging. Science explains the remarkable mechanisms, the vast processing power of our subconscious, the literal gut-brain connection, the physical reality of our biology. Meanwhile, spirituality explores the profound meaning behind why we feel these things in the first place. They aren't enemies at all. They are literally just describing the exact same human mystery, just from 2 slightly different perspectives. Which brings us to our final thought. The next time you experience butterflies in your stomach, get some totally unexplained goosebumps, feel a sudden wave of deep, profound peace, or just have a sudden urge to slow down, pause. Instead of just brushing it off like you normally would, become intensely curious. Ask yourself, what is my body trying to tell me right now? It might be millions of years of human evolution kicking in, or it might be your soul quietly trying to guide you. But one thing is absolutely certain, your body is speaking. The real question is, are you listening? Stay curious and keep trusting the incredible wisdom within you.